Well, obviously I was delighted to accept this invitation, although the theme is obviously deliberately provocative one. Is Islam a threat to the West? The aim is not to have a vote at the end, as you might do in some debates, but it's to explore the topic. And I hope, as Shainur said, to perhaps bring a bit of light to come through the heat and to explore positions. There will be no vote, as I say. As he's explained, people will get a chance to make an initial statement and then we'll take it from there. He's given me a list of chairs' instructions, and they say things like, don't be afraid to be very tough. So I hope I don't have to be very tough, but I think we all probably know the areas in which I might intervene. It's the sort of thing that he was mentioning. If people are not being civil to one another and allowing for different points of view or abusive, that kind of thing. Equally, if you do go on just on and on and on, I will have to bring you to some kind of question or point and stop you taking up the rest of the evening. As to when we end, we think that's around 8 o'clock. We clearly don't want to take things to the point where we have to send up the road to the Royal College of Anaesthetists to come in and wake everyone up. So hopefully we'll keep it lively, and then we'll know when the time has come to disperse, leave people perhaps wanting a little bit more, but everyone feeling that who wants to have a say, that they have had their say. We've got a great panel, people coming from very different perspectives. On the extreme left of the table, I should point out, Charles Moore, editor of The Spectator, and of the Sunday Telegraph, and indeed for many years of the Daily Telegraph. It says here 1995 to 2003, still a columnist on the Daily Telegraph and for The Spectator. He's working on the authorised biography of Mrs. Thatcher. And before we started, I asked him a rather naive question, which is, when do you think it will appear? And he very politely said, after she dies, because that's the basis on which you write this kind of authorised biography. So he, as to when you can buy his life of Mrs. Thatcher, that really is in the hands of the gods. Next to Charles and myself is Abdul Rahim Green, who was born in Tanzania, brought up as a Roman Catholic, went to boarding school, later working in the City of London, he tells me rather unsuccessfully selling life assurance. He clearly discovered a better form of life assurance and took the path into a more spiritual line of work and converted to Islam. He works in the London Central Mosque and Islamic Cultural Centre, and is the Visits and English Dawah Coordinator. Dawah is an outreach program which is designed to get people interested, but not, Abdul Rahim tells me, necessarily to look for converts. Next is Humira Khan, one of the founders of the An-Nisa Society, which Abdul Rahim kindly explained to me beforehand means Women's Society, and she works with families providing support and counselling on a broad range of issues. She's also part of the Home Office Working Group on Forced Marriages and the Home Office Community Cohesion Review Team. And then lastly, James O'Brien. He is a radio call-in host of a very popular and vibrant programme on LBC 97.3. He sees himself, I think, as a shock jock, but not of the right-wing variety, coming from a more liberal perspective. And he also writes frequently for everything from The Spectator to Cosmopolitan, and equal than other journalists. So that, I think, is probably my cue to bring the introductions to a halt. So what we'll do, as Shainur explained, is to get you all thinking and writing and engaged with the subject, and to give you a better understanding of where each of the speakers come from, ask them in turn to give a short presentation of their views. And I'll call upon Charles first.
Islam seems to see the idea of a religious society as being inseparable from the idea of society as a whole, and therefore to have what to a Western eye is an inadequate idea of society existing